It is happening.
The patrons are going to be the ones that get to see Eric's dog die or hear it die, like on the show. So
Jesus.
one of these days.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing No One Will Save You. It's been a while, John. Since, Nope might be the last good alien movie that we did on the show.
That was like 1 year ago, so
Yeah, a
that's
year's a
high
long
density
time, John.
of good alien movies. I feel like there were 0 good alien movies for 15 years.
Yeah,
and then,
okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
that's
So-
fair.
Joining me tonight, first up from the Bay Area of San Francisco, please welcome Rachel to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Next up from bucolic Indiana, the bespoke forests of, I don't know what that means, the cornfields of Indiana. Please welcome Casey to the show.
Hello.
And last up tonight, from
just lay into it. Just go.
the
You
Big
go.
Apple,
Wow.
the city so nice, they named it
It's
twice.
true.
Please welcome John Schnars to the show.
Hello, Eric.
How you feeling about New York these days, John? What do you think of that mayor there? Seems a little
Oh.
weird.
Oh.
What is it with New York? They just can't get a mayor that's not completely batshit crazy.
I mean, dude, we had Bloomberg for 12 years. Like, it was totally fine.
Yeah, I guess.
Have you
As
heard
far
his
as-
stance on sodas? I don't know.
As far as billionaires
Look,
go,
all
I
right,
guess.
Rachel, like, we don't need to,
Sliding scale,
get into it
sliding
right
scale.
now, but Suzanne is Suzanne, my wife, for the new listeners. Very, yeah, she's
Just
not
there.
an Addams fan. I like am sort of where you are, Eric, where it's like they're all terrible. So like she is just like, you know, anxiously just devouring all Addams content.
What you're saying is she still has like hope, and so she wants it to be better.
Hope, you mean like for the world, like just hope
Sure,
in
yeah,
general?
in
Yeah,
general,
more or less.
I'm not really
Yes.
connected with that so much these days. So
Yeah,
I'm just
no, I
interested in it.
I'm aware. Where are you at on Hochul? That's our lady.
I don't pay attention to I don't pay attention to politics anymore. I gave up, John.
Dude, it's the capital region, Eric.
Yeah, no, I
You
don't.
know,
I don't-
you guys are neighbors, basically.
Now that I'm out of news, I don't even watch the news anymore. I don't care.
Kathy. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Cuomo legalized weed. That was the last important thing I paid attention to that happened in New York. Nice work there. Nice work in that one specific thing. All right, let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's take a quick break and talk No One Will Save You.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. From the front time. Main feature.
I will say we got to get the bureaucracy moving on that, though, John. Like, there's
Weed?
one.
Oh, it's
There's
terrible.
one dispensary in all of this area within
Yeah, it's
like
not
a
good.
2-hour drive, basically.
You're gonna love to hear this, but there was there's a gentleman that I went to business school with who has been a weed entrepreneur for many years now,
weed
and
entrepreneur.
Just
he
say he's
tests-
a white guy with dreads. We get it.
he doesn't have dreads. He does
No,
not have
it's not
dreads.
that
He's
anymore,
actually
Rachel.
like
Now
pretty
it's just
buttoned up.
business douches who get in
I
and
know,
take up all the money.
actually.
Yeah.
You're
But
right.
he's
Now that
he's
weed
been in it
stores-
for like a long time, like before it was legal in the state. But he like posted, it was like on LinkedIn, which was like my only social media. He posted that he was testifying in front of our esteemed, whatever the fuck they're called, representatives, about how there's no, like, how fucked the bureaucracy is. It's quite bad.
It's wild because I lived in both Massachusetts and New York when they were passed and watched the whole cycle. And Massachusetts actually had less bureaucracy, which
Yeah.
blows my mind. I mean, it's just, you know.
Yeah.
This isn't what we're here for, John. I guess just weed is cool is my general idea. What's John, please bring us
Yeah.
the word of the day. I like that segue, John.
So good. That was pro level. Today's word, alienation.
Mm-hmm. It was a great
got alien in it.
mini-series.
Yeah, no, this is one word, alienation, alienation. The state or experience of being isolated from a group or an activity to which one should belong or in which one should be involved. It can also mean the loss or lack of sympathy, estrangement. I like this. In Marxist theory, a condition of workers in a capitalist economy resulting from a lack of identity with the products of their labor and sense of being controlled or exploited.
Now you're talking
Rachel,
about John.
where are we at? We like that.
Play the
California,
long
Rachel.
game.
There you go. There you go. This comes to us from the late Middle English, from the Latin alienare, which means estrange. Yes.
Alienated, John, much like when you what happens to you when you are a brutal psychotic murderer.
What?
Apropos
I
of
don't
nothing.
even know what bit are we doing now?
I'm talking about the movie.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh,
and John.
Yes,
and
well, hold on.
Thank you, Rachel.
First of all, that's a major spoiler. Second of all,
I don't care.
question mark? Like, I
do what I
don't know.
want.
We're going to have to work through this together.
How many of your
I
friends
think.
did you murder when you were a kid, John?
I mean,
questionable,
none,
or-
but
Okay.
man, wow, you went really hard. This is very interesting. All right.
John, tell me about No One Will Save You.
Okay. No One Will Save You. This is written and directed by Brian Duffield. Brian Duffield, producer Cocaine Bear. He wrote the screenplay for Underwater.
You're saying he's a producer of the movie Cocaine Bear, not that he's a producer,
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear.
he didn't
Call
he
me,
never
call
he didn't like
me.
feed cocaine to bears
Gotcha.
explicitly. No, I mean
kink
he's like
shaming.
a genre guy. He's been around, but this is his second directorial effort behind a movie called Spontaneous, which I don't think we saw, but we didn't talk about it on the show. I don't know. Have either of you guys or any of you all seen it? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
What do we think, Rachel? Are we pros?
What is that one?
Similarly has the it's one movie for 85% of its runtime and then suddenly tonally shifts into like an incredibly dark film.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's about some teenagers spontaneously combusting when they feel love or I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
fun.
Yeah. So Brian Duffield, writer director. This was a straight to Hulu joint. It stars her name Caitlin Dever as I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up. Her name was Bryn. Eric has already spoiled the whole fucking thing with this movie, but
Sorry.
Bryn is living
not sorry.
in her childhood home. She's sort of like you would call it like a safe space cocoon that she's made for herself. Her parents are gone or no longer around. She lives in this town. She's there's a lot of visual cues about where she's at. She's got this town, that Mill River or whatever the hell the town's called, like a fake version of it on her table. But then when she actually goes into the town, no one will look at or interact with her. So there's some darkness there in her past that is not sort of explicitly revealed. It should be said, and I think we just say it up front, but it's a pretty important part of the movie. There's no dialogue at all. I think there if you read the screenplay of this, there might be 2 lines, period, and they're in a somewhat dream sequence, I think. And that's a really interesting choice. We'll get to it, but the action all centers around the fact that she's living in this house. She's very isolated, both sort of physically, but also emotionally. And then there is an alien invasion, like the aliens with the big eyes and the gray bodies. Casey, there's there a name for that sort of version of aliens?
Grays.
The gray. There. See, I knew you were gonna know. That's why I asked. But so there's some very classic alien gray type aliens, and they attack, and then the rest of the movie is her trying to sort of survive, but then also gradually revealing what's going on in the backstory.
That's pretty succinct.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
I like it, John. Rachel, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this movie's really interesting. I'm actually super excited that you guys invited me on for this one because it's one that has been kind of like making my brain itch since I watched it a couple weeks ago. I feel I kind of alluded to this when you asked about spontaneous, but I feel like I know exactly how I feel about 85% of this film and very confused and unclear about how I feel about the other 15%. So I'm hoping to come out of this conversation with a clearer idea.
I may
of
not even have
exactly
to
how I
speak
feel.
tonight, Rachel. You pretty much just summed my feelings up.
We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there.
Okay, good. I mean, this is a movie that, like all modern horror films, is ultimately about trauma. But I do think that, like, using aliens to talk about alienation is actually pretty clever. And I like how it's sort of like operating on all these meta levels, like with the styling of Bryn, kind of harkening back to like the 1950s UFO craze, and the way that her having a town inside her house sort of mirrors the way that the aliens see her, that like thematically comes back as the movie sort of wraps up. As a home invasion film, which is what I initially thought what I was going to get when I sat down to watch this, I think it really works. The aliens themselves, the design of them is really unique and terrifying, and the sound design around the aliens is really, I mean, I love that, again, it's like this iteration on a classic Alien that goes in a new direction, with the scale and with the variety and all of those kinds of things that I'm sure we'll get into. Caitlin Dever is an actor that I really, really like, and I think she does a lot with this, considering she gets no dialogue, essentially. And yeah, I don't know. This movie really did like mess with my expectations in ways that I appreciated, and I think that's a really good thing.
You know what's funny? I'm not sure that even dawned on me while I was watching the movie.
What?
That she like doesn't really say a word the whole movie.
Oh, really?
There's no dialogue at all.
But at no point was I like, this is crazy. No one's talking. Like I was just going with it.
Totally. Which I think that's like
Yeah.
pro, I would say. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, essentially, I kind of am really curious to hear what everybody else said, because I'm still processing, and it's been like 2 weeks. Like I keep like I'm dreaming up all of these scenarios of what the ending means, and I don't know that I should have to do this much work. But I don't know. We'll get there.
Casey.
I ended up enjoying this quite a bit. I've, no surprise, I like alien movies, and it's been a while since we've had a good classic gray invasion movie. There's one in one of the VHS sequences, and I think the second one we were talking about, there was a alien abduction in that one. That was a good one. There was another one I can't think of the name of off the top of my head that was between this and that. It wasn't real well known, but it was pretty good as far as a gray invasion. So this one was cool, and really for the invasion part of it, it kind of stuck to the numbers up to a certain point. And I'm, as I'm watching, I'm thinking, well, this is just feeling like another alien invasion. Then all of a sudden you get to where, you think those usually go. It's like, wait a minute, there's still like 45 minutes left. So they actually managed to change it up, which is cool. There are a lot of layers to this movie as far as the alienation and the themes and stuff like that, which I thought were woven in really well. I kind of love the fact that we get the story of what's going on with with Bryn's story in reverse to what's going on. It helps add to the confusion and kind of the weirdness of the entire situation she's in too. I think it helps amplify that, especially since there's no dialogue, so it kind of puts you on edge because you're confused and feeling confused, much like she may have been going through there. It was a nice touch. But as far as aliens go, they went to a certain point where it's by the numbers, and then they changed it up. And I really like the change up on this. We see a lot more of what's going on after the big bright white tractor beam that you would normally see at the end of one of these movies. And at first, you started seeing some variations as far as the aliens that are going around. And at first it was like, oh, they're going to do something cheesy. And then it keeps going. And then after a while, you're like, holy crap, how many are there? And it's just kind of fascinating to see what all they come up with. So I don't want to take it away from Eric, but there's a moment when he was watching the movie tonight, and he texted Schnars, and he said, holy shit, that's Spider. And I knew exactly what he's talking about. So,
it's true.
Effective stuff.
John.
Yeah, I think I love this movie. Like, it might be one of my favorite things we watched this year. I would say my least favorite part of it is that it's like
have the capability of love, John.
Well, No, but my least favorite part of it is like, and Rachel, you mentioned like that it's one of the at a certain level it boils down to like trauma and nonsense. Like it's like I've moved on emotionally for a while now. Like obviously we see way more of these movies than most people, but it's like, guys, like we just need as a society to have like processed our trauma now and like stop making movies about it.
Spoken like a real schnars.
Well, I mean, like like clearly we haven't done that as a society, but like we don't need to keep making horror movies about it. Like we can make horror movies about other things.
You can make horror movies where the characters have backstories and things without going so hard in that direction, I guess is how I feel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so all that to say, like I still love the movie. It is. I don't want to like overstate it, but it is like a really wild choice to have no dialogue.
Yeah.
Like I noticed it right away, and I kept sort of like waiting for there to be anything, and they truly give you nothing. I mean, Rachel,
Yeah,
you
because
sort
even
of
when she's around people.
no,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
truly they don't talk. She gets like spit on by a character, and
I
that's
know.
like the most interaction she has with another human. Rachel, you highlighted the fact that like the ending of this movie is not easy. It's not like a straightforward, and like I'm not here to say that I know what the hell is exactly happening, but that's like my favorite. I mean, as you guys know, like I love movies like that. Like I don't need, if anything, the ambiguity makes it like almost more alluring in some ways.
Yeah.
And like the ending of this movie is fucking bleak. Like it's really, really
I
dark.
feel like the person who wrote this movie watched Contact too many times and was like, I could do that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I guess Alien Nation, like we were somewhat joking about Alien Nation, the show, like that's also about, the aliens like sort of more or less taking over. I actually never
Yeah.
watched it at any level, but
I have it on
pretty good.
the movie on VHS.
yeah, so I think the action here is really good. Like I think the way I've been describing, because I've actually been talking about, this is like, I know I like the movie when I like want to tell everyone about it, like I'm like at work and I'm like, guys, I watched this movie, and they're like, we didn't ask you what you're. I think I've been describing it as like a sci-fi thriller. I mean, it's certainly a horror movie. I mean, it is scary. It is like set up to be scary. It like delivers scares. But it is like a thrill ride. Like it is very much a like ride you're on for a large portion of it. I mean, that's the 85% presumably that you're talking about, Rachel.
Yeah.
There's some like great just moments of tension and sort of like visual scares in this that aren't jump scares, which I love. Like I ended up having to watch this in 2 parts, which was annoying, but it just like had to happen that way. The part where I like actually stopped is when she's like outside and she's like standing in the garages in the background, and you just like see the one little you see the head poke up, and you're like, oh, there's an alien there, and then it like keeps going, and you're just like, oh boy, this is it goes from being like somewhat scary to like, oh my god, this is actually quite terrifying. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can talk about a lot of different parts of this. But I really liked it. It's the first thing I've watched in a while where I was like unambiguously
It's not
pumped.
often I get to see you experience joy, John.
Yeah,
know.
here we
I
are.
appreciate it.
It's infectious. I'm like, I love this movie. I said that from the beginning.
I think I'm with Rachel on this one. Man, the action is so good. Like the aliens are great. The percentage that your butt is puckered during this movie is high. Like it got me on some scares. That first 20-25 minutes, really up until like it's sort of there's a hard break and then it's morning. Dude, that whole sequence is so good. So freaky. The sound, I was listening with headphones for a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it. The sound design is great. It's actually insane that I watched this whole movie and didn't once think that no one's talking. Like what the hell? That's kind of wild. If I have any complaints, it's too dark. I know
Like the lighting is
It's
too dark,
physically dark in a lot of
Yeah,
places
okay.
for me.
I
I
know
know that
what you were
we've
talking
talked a lot lately about like that streaming compression might be compounding that issue in some way, but also just like I just don't think that the ending comes together. And I do get, okay, they're aliens and they don't talk, so there's like can be an ambiguity there. But to me, it feels like, first of all, it feels like two different movies. I think, like Rachel, you said that, like it feels like a vestige of a previous script that just was not fully fleshed out. I don't know, man. The last 10 minutes just feels like got Frankenstein onto this thing. And like what I just can't wrap my head around is, I think clearly we're in spoiler territory. And I haven't had a lot of time.
You mean when you spoiled it 30 seconds into the show?
I haven't had a lot of time to process. Let's be fair. But like, if the aliens have their little parasite deals and all they really want to do is take over, and it's very like it's a little like a flowerier version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where there's seems to be like a hive mind, and what they want to do is sort of make all the humans docile and working together or whatever. But with this like, oh, we're dancing and we're having party, like it's kind of cute. Wants to do this like cutesy thing, and then I was just like, it's not doing anything for me. But if they can just control them with the parasites, why do they need to? And there's clones, okay, but like, why do they need to suck them up into the thing and like help them with their trauma? Like, what the fuck? Like, I just don't think that any of that tracks at all.
I don't think they were helping her.
Because they literally 5 minutes. Yeah, but there's a moment where they look at her and they're like, I feel like there's a moment where they're supposed to be a little soft or something. Obviously, like vague, but it just, that whole part.
I mean, I can give you my read on this, but it is not like my takeaway was that they like saw her trauma or whatever experience. You know, like it's revealed to them the way it's revealed to us, and like we had sort of seen everything going on in her life, and they basically were like, well, we don't even need her to be fucking chipped or whatever, you know, like throat parasite, because she's already like she like not his she doesn't hate humanity, but she like was
that's
happy,
the life she wants.
Exactly, like she was happy to live in the like fucked up version of the world that they were just like trying to set up,
or just stuff one of those fucking things down there. Yeah. By the way, the design on that thing is goddamn horrifying. Like,
yes,
it reminded me of the thing in the Matrix that like they make Neo swallow, and then it is like you can see it crawling on his belly and I can't deal. I know you're a Cronenberg fan, John. I can't deal with that. Stay out of my body, John.
Am I the only one that took the ending as kind of like the alien version of the Matrix? Like she never left the ship?
Yeah, I mean you're just trying to control them so they'll be docile, but like it, I don't know. It just doesn't. The ending doesn't come together for me. And what's strange is like you feel like Casey, you were saying, you know, it's a little. There's not a lot to separate it out when you're watching Alien Invasion part, but I don't think it matters because they do it so well. Like the action is so good, it's so tense. It almost feels like they were bending over too far backwards to like try to add this original character stuff in, where to me I don't even think it's necessary. I don't think I give a shit. She doesn't talk the whole movie anyway. Like I could have just watched her running away from aliens directed in this way, and I would have been pretty happy. What I will say this movie made me realize is that when people write in and ask us like what our favorite genres are, I don't think I ever say alien invasion movies, but I'm watching this and I'm like, I think I love alien invasion movies. And I in particular love them when they're bleak. Like this could have been darker and more bleak. Like give me like fucking fire in the sky. Like I think it's why that scene in Nope is so memorable, where they get sucked up, because it's just the worst nightmare version of what that could possibly be. And that's what I like, because like the idea of aliens as bringing horrors that our minds can barely comprehend, and there is no escaping and there's no going back. I think I like that. That's like deeply frightening to me in a way. And there's moments in this movie where they really hit that uncanny valley. I think the spider dude is a really great example. Like it's sort of for a second kind of a thing that feels familiar in a way to nature, but then it telescopes up. Like it's just like, then it's just tall and you're like, what the fuck? You know, I don't know why there's like a weird little baby dog alien, but that was kind of fun too.
And the arm movements on those.
What do we think of finger toes? What do we think of toe fingers? I guess is more accurate. Toe fingers? Finger toes.
Yeah.
Finger
toes.
You know,
Like,
I was okay with the finger toes, but then that moment she was hiding under the bed, and you see him come over the bed. He set his feet down, and he landed toes first. All I could think of was the old cartoons, you know, where you see the creature crawling on his toes.
I do want to invoke, because it's a very different movie, but I do want to invoke Contact again, because I just feel like there's no way it didn't influence this movie. But that's a film where like the whole much of the movie is about that relationship with her father, and I think that's a movie that toes the line better, where it is very mysterious at the end. You don't understand exactly what's happening, but the whole idea is that the aliens are like using that memory to communicate with her, right? And so like, and then you don't even really know what happened at the end. I don't know. Whereas here it's like it's too ambiguous for me.
I haven't seen Contact in 25 years at least.
In the theater.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I saw it in the theater, but
like
I
at
did.
the end of
you know.
basically like at the end of Contact, they build the spaceship that the aliens sent the plans for. They send her in it. Yeah,
I remember.
It's a great
My
film,
point
John.
is like, I'm not saying it's. It's not an action movie. Like this is like an action movie.
No, I know, but it's like I feel like they were building an action movie, and then we're like, oh, we also want this emotional connection, a la that movie.
Well, no, look,
And it's just they don't do it.
I genuinely agree with you, or I should say, generally agree with you, but also genuinely.
Not genuinely.
No, genuinely and generally
I'm used
that
to it.
I could have just lived with the version of the movie that was the action / like alien invasion-y stuff, and like it would have been great, and I would have been happy. I, as I sort of said, like the parts of this that like were the worst or the like trauma-y nonsense, I at least appreciated that they were trying to give her like a real arc. It ends up being like a pretty dark arc, which I like. Again, that like is a plus for me.
Is it though? It's hard for me to. It's like I get it. Yes, it is because we lose, right?
The aliens win. Like it's you. Yes, it is objectively.
But it's hard for me to make that.
Rachel might prefer that world actually.
It doesn't feel as dark as I would like it because they're trying to be so like sweet. And they're like trying to be so cutesy at the end that like I'm like just
wait till you see the Trump alien. It's really
like,
bad.
Like I want that stupid found footage movie Alien Abduction where at the end we literally see them get sucked up in anal probes and spit out the garbage chute. Like that's what I want.
So you got Contact. I watched it again today, and I kind of got Brazil at the end. Like,
I've never seen that.
Well, there you go. It's a classic you should check out.
Yeah,
so I'm going to
that
spoil
is-
Brazil.
Like
for
I know
you.
literally
Sorry.
nothing about it. Is it an alien movie?
No, but the way that it ends, I didn't really like clock this the first time, but the second time I watched it, the last shot of this film is her breaking the fourth wall and looking into the camera. And I was like, wait a minute. Is this a situation where like they weren't up there reading her brain, being like, wow, let's, we can live in harmony together as long as we do some dance numbers. It's going to be fine. So much as they're like, okay, this person has so much guilt that there's no like idealized version of reality that she will not break out of. So like this version is the one that she would believe. Like her guilt would allow her to believe that she was like living with the aliens in a continued form of isolation. So I don't know. What do you think? Like Brazil ending possible?
That's a version you articulated a version of what I was trying to
buy
say
that.
at some level. I like that. Your reading is
Yeah.
a reading I would
I'll buy
co-sign.
that.
I took it because my takeaway was I didn't pick up as to why it would make her docile, but for the aliens, it was kind of, she ripped out the parasite thing. She was too much. They couldn't take the risks, so she's going to jail. So they resolved her trauma, gave her the happy life with the dance numbers, and put her away. But why that would appeal to her, I can't say.
Yeah.
To keep her docile.
Can I?
Which is what I think you were saying, Rachel.
I want to rewind a little before the ending and just throw out a couple other things that I got over, but were definitely problems for me. And this is like, one of the soapboxes that I get on the show a lot. So, but I'm also saying like this works even in spite of it. These aliens are so goddamn powerful, and we are asked to believe
They're like
that
telekinetic.
they're like controlling physical space. They're like control like they also, as we saw, like managed to capture virtually everyone else, like seemingly without issue, or maybe there were issues, but like the whole rest of the town, the neighbor explicitly, their house is like totally fine, hasn't been destroyed, and like they've all been, I mean, there's a lot of like, I kept being like, wait a second, why? First of all, why do they need her? Like, why not just kill her if she's like that big of a problem? And then also like, why is this so hard for them? Like they seem to be able to just like, move lots of shit. They're like throwing things around the house. They're blowing the door off. Like they got super weapons. So I don't know, that like to me, there was a little bit of like, hold on. I also fundamentally, and this is like, I actually think we've like gotten to a good place on what the hell's happening for her at the end. What are the aliens doing by coming here and
Thank you.
running?
What are they
like,
accomplishing by having fun swing dance parties? Like,
Yeah.
Well, that I don't know. But I
Yeah,
do
like-
think we do see that the hentai alien throat thing.
Yes.
It's inside the gray as well. So there's a version of this where they're also just a colonized people. Like,
Yeah, that.
Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly.
just
I
got
think
chills.
that's
That I
that's
like.
like a good read for sure. That's
That I like. I'm into that.
Because they made a big point with the first one that
Because
she
the
killed,
way it
they
comes
showed
out
the
of that
hole,
alien
right?
is very weird.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like a symbiote, or you know what I mean? That doesn't look like a fun relationship they have.
like your liver doesn't leave your body when you
Right.
die.
Right, exactly.
It's not like some
Yeah.
piece of fancy technology, and they're like he vomits it up. Like
well, and that also would explain the other like interesting sort
like
of like I think
Half-Life.
it's like the true last shot of the film is the fact that the humans, the colonized humans are all like living and like having their like fun swing dance party. And then it sort of like pans up, or like the camera sort of like pulls back, and it's just like all the like saucers flying around, and they're basically like the parents monitoring
Yeah,
the
I think,
kids
like,
growing on.
I really truly don't have an
planet Earth.
answer for what the hell they would want. I mean, except for like you make the population docile and then you extract resources, right? That's like the basic. But
Why
I
do we
do
colonize?
want to give them props for like it's a low budget movie or lower budget movie, but they have these shots that really help show scope. And they show that like you can do it even in a low budget movie.
Well,
you know what I mean?
so-
Like they're strategic about where they put those assets in. Like we go and see the town, so we see a bunch of people, and like we see these wide shots with everybody coming in. They've got the cloud thing. Like it feels pretty big for how small it actually is.
So I did look. So this was you're raising something else that I was actually curious about, and I did not have a chance to kind of like read up about this. So Rachel, I don't know, maybe if you've had a chance or like spoken to anyone about this movie, but the budget I saw was 23 million, which is like
That's what I saw
Oh,
too.
that's
pretty
decent.
high,
Yeah.
especially for something that goes direct to Hulu. So one question I had is, I would 100% have enjoyed this more in a theater. Like this is a theatrical film to me.
It is much better than
Yeah.
other shit we see.
So
in theaters.
why like there was something that happened that this ends up in Hulu. Like I mean maybe
That's
it
just
was,
the world we live in, though, man.
but
like, none
but
of
at
that shit
this
makes
budget
sense.
point, like you don't like Hulu's or like Disney, whoever's like greenlighting these Hulu movies is not like writing $23 million checks for things to go direct to Hulu. Like that's a big budget for a
John,
direct to Hulu
John,
thing.
capitalism is a scam.
All right.
Alienation.
No,
That's
and then but so like I am
Proletariat.
curious about like what the hell happened with sort of the development and sort of like distribution of this thing. No, but the other thing,
Let's
like
talk
when
about
I'm
the means
watching
of
it,
production, John.
I was
There is no ethical consumption in a capitalist society.
my assumption was that this was a former VFX person who was sort of like getting their first. This felt to me like
Could be,
VFX
yeah,
person who got, but it's not like he's a screenwriter first and foremost.
But that part of it is
Yeah.
done very lovingly, so I understand.
Well, it's excellent. Like I would say it's the effects in general are better than like a lot of shit we see. And Eric, to your point, like there's a lot of like alien here. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Casey, the finger
Yes.
toes, like they look good. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like
I loved the tractor beam, like, dude.
Yeah.
I love a good tractor beam.
Tractor
You know what
beam was
movie I
great.
love, and
That
a lot of
clone
it.
in the tractor beam was awesome as well. They
Yeah.
got caught on the edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love This Is the End. Good tractor beam in that movie. But it's kind of silly because like there's times where the tractor beam starts beaming up some shit that's right next to her, and I'm like watching, screaming like, she's right there. Just beam her up.
Yeah, like move the tractor beam like
Yeah,
a little.
make it a
bit.
little wider.
Yeah.
You don't have like a setting on that. There's just like a wide berth. Like it's a little silly. Like like it's sucking up the little thing at some point. What was that supposed to mean? Like at one point it's sucking up the
Well, if
parasite
that's
thing,
like
and
the
there's
baby.
like a woman there.
Well,
There's
the
like a
woman.
woman.
No, the woman was that was her clone. That wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, her doppelganger or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
missed
you
that.
guys. So, for my own clarity, because just picking up on what you guys are saying, do you think that the end with the dance scene was the people back on Earth having little dance numbers?
Yeah.
Because I took it as
Possibly.
they were in alien jail and they never left the ship. And if anybody's back on Earth, it was clones, and they were just in their own little happy fantasy world.
Well, I think they had their throat. Like you
Yeah.
could see the.
The alien jail is Earth now. Like Earth is an alien jail.
Yeah, that's fair
basically.
too.
Yeah.
Alien jail.
Yeah.
It's right
Name
next
of
to
your
Brian
next
Cox's
album.
monkey jail.
Subsumes it actually entirely, but
You
Yeah.
might say it's a part of a part. Yeah, part of a whole. Cool, man.
Excuse me.
I'm taking.
So
good
tons.
times.
But
Oh, buddy.
the last thing I would add, though, as far as the way they paced this movie and the way they laid it out, and probably the fact that there is no dialogue added to it, the tension in this movie is outstanding
Yeah.
from beginning to end. I was kind of edging my seat the whole way.
well, they really. I mean, this is part of where a lot of movies have too much dialogue, have too much exposition. There's always a character explaining something to you. This movie, it takes the opposite attack, and it's just like,
show.
yeah, they're just like, you can figure it out or not figure it out. We don't give a fuck. Like, and I salute them for that. That's the part. And Casey, I think to your point, like, there's never that moment where there's tension being cut by someone saying like, well, these aliens, it's
Or
just,
nobody's being like that happened.
yeah,
These guys are harvesting us.
yeah. So,
But kudos to Caitlin Deaver, though, for carrying this entire movie with her face.
yeah, there were a couple moments where I was like, she is acting really hard right now.
Yeah.
But I actually like it works. Like it's part of
Yeah.
it's part of the package. So
And
She's
I
great.
yeah.
the main thing I remember her from was Justified, and she is fantastic in
Yes.
that. So
Yes.
never
Yes.
saw
just
Justified.
it's cool to
Oh,
see her
Eric,
coming
you would
on to
like
carry.
it.
It's cool to see her come on and lead a movie like this with no dialogue and pull it off so well.
She was also great in Booksmart. Oh,
Yeah, well,
Oh,
Booksmart's
yeah.
the thing that I had seen.
Do
I forgot about
did any
that.
of you guys play The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2?
No.
No, but I know
She
of
just
it.
got cast in a really important role in the next season, and people are gonna be real mad.
Oh boy,
Oh
Nice.
boy.
nice. Okay.
All right. Would you recommend No One Will Save Us, Rachel?
Yes, and then email me and tell me what you think the ending means.
Casey,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
I'll also say yes, and I will say please don't email me.
Send me Eric's emails.
We're gonna put this on my top 10 list, John. So let's take a quick
Nice.
break and do some fan mail.
Okay.
I would love it if StreamYard would actually play the beginning of clips.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com.
Did you guys hear the first second when I hit play, or does it just feel like
It sounds fine to me.
Oh, I don't hear it on my end.
Join
sound like it
Patreon
comes
to
up
get
as
back
something.
episodes and much more.
Does she play like a child in Justified? Because she was like very young when she was in it.
It's the
Yeah.
third season with it's like her and Margot Martindale are in it. It's the best season. It
I mean,
is
Margot
so
Martindale's
good.
also amazing. So
Well, it's the
Her-
two of them. It's amazing.
Caitlin's dad was like a dirt. Sorry.
Do you guys mind stopping your conversation so we can start the show? again?
Chaos
No.
era.
Good lord. All right. All right, John.
yeah, get that list up, bro.
Man. Well, I know I'm kicking Knock at the Cabin, but I guess the question is, where do I put this? I'm going to put it at 7 for now. Oh, wait, shit.
Lucky number 7.
Spreadsheets are hard, John. I don't know how people do this shit. What is this called? No one will
I gotta
that puts it
put a
above-
number in that box. What?
That puts it above Last Voyage of the Demeter, Totally Killer, and Scream 6.
Yeah,
Just
that
above
sounds right.
this movie, Infinity Pool.
Guys, I'm not watching Scream 6. Okay, it's not going on my
You-
list. I'm not
You
watching
should,
it.
maybe. I'm just saying.
It's
There's
actually
no way.
there's worse Scream movies. There are.
Well,
worse
was
Scream
5
movies.
worse? Because I thought 5 was pretty bad.
5
so.
is worse. I think.
I thought
God.
the
It
community
is the
split,
New York
John.
one. I should watch it
I would
because
say like
it's the New York one.
half the people feel like 5 is better, and half the people seem to think that 6 is better. Those people are the correct ones. that
Yeah,
think
see,
that
the other
6 is
ones are
better.
wrong.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. Caitlin from Kissimmee has just been sending me voluminous emails, and I can't read all of them.
How close is she to getting served with theaters?
I mean, last week she sent a picture that was like, "This
cease and
looks like
desist.
you, haha," and not only did it not look like me, but it was offensive. So I did not. Go through emails
I mean, it could be
last week.
worse. It could be.
Was it one of the
you
troll
sleeping.
dolls? Or?
It was not great. I don't even want to get into it. Anyway, this week she says, "Did you know that Oz Perkins is remaking Monkey Shines?
What?
Do you understand how close we might be to the Langoliers being cared about?"
Holy shit!
Monkey
right, Caitlin,
Shines
you're back
is a batshit crazy movie. I wouldn't call it good, but it's pretty memorable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I'm just picturing it like very slow and beautiful and gothic and
Who directed Monkey? It's somebody noteworthy directed that.
what is Oz Perkins doing next? I feel like he's doing something really interesting next.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
too.
thought. Romero directed Monkey Shines,
Yeah. Okay.
1988.
Oz
Okay.
Perkins is my
You ever seen that movie, John?
I believe that's the one where the guy's in the wheelchair and he has like the monkey
He's
helper.
got the monkey helper, yeah.
I've definitely watched it, but it was like probably when I was like 12. So
Oz Perkins' next project is a movie called Long Legs, starring Nicolas Cage.
That's right. I knew it was something interesting.
Long legs.
God,
He's like a
wasn't
serial
the
killer.
last Oz
Yeah.
Perkins thing a little not great? What was it?
Was it Gretel and Hansel?
Yes,
Yeah,
probably.
that was good.
Yeah, it was like I was like, I like
Dude,
it.
I would kill for a Gretel and Hansel in 2023. Are you kidding me? I don't know if I
I'm
had
not sure
another
who's
one.
getting the bigger burn. Like what
It was.
end of this
It was
is the bigger
fine.
burn?
It was
Yeah.
fine.
I
It
wouldn't-
was
I
both
didn't-
fine and indicative of this year.
I don't want to like completely annihilate it, but I just like do not look back on that movie with
Eric,
like a lot of.
We got to point this out because we got called out on Slack for last week for not mentioning Kieran and Shipkip being in it, but Oz Perkins also directed Blackcoat's Daughter.
Right.
Well, yeah, but that was like
People
his
were-
breakout. That it
people
was
were
like that
busting
and that
on us-
other thing.
People were busting on us that we couldn't
We
pull
couldn't.
that
We
she was
forgot
in
that-
Blackcoat's
yeah.
Daughter.
What was
I was
the other
just
one that
sad
was
nobody
on?
brought up Flowers in the Attic. Like she was in the remake of that too.
I don't watch non-horror movies, Rachel.
Yeah,
Largely,
no,
so I
Well,
don't know.
that one's about brother and sister love in an attic because their parents are slowly poisoning them. So I think
Isn't
it
that like a
counts.
VC
Yikes.
Andrews book or something?
Yes.
Ding ding.
Yeah, no, it's
Yikes.
not, also not making
Someone
my
was
list.
not a teenage girl getting into their older sister's books. I see.
Joke's on you, Rachel. My older brother didn't read at all.
Probably why your search history is.
You know what's funny? My dad did. My dad's like a huge Stephen King fan. He has like every Stephen King book in hardcover. And I tried to read it once and was like, "This is way too long. Well, I don't get this."
Yeah, why did you start with that one? That's
I don't know because I liked Tim Curry.
solid reason.
One more from Caitlin. I will never recover from the dog scene in When Evil Lurks. This year's horror has been so painfully bad. I feel like Gordon Ramsay. Finally, some good fucking food. I think When Evil
It's-
Lurks is on our list.
it's
It
co-
is.
after Thanksgiving. We're gonna we only got a couple weeks left here, so yeah, we're getting
We
there.
got
on
you
the
covered.
list.
Yeah.
That is it for email, Casey. What you got?
All right. We got a couple threads, one or two.
We'll have a good thread.
Excuse me.
Thread it up.
All right. Let's see here. The drummer from Foghat asks, on the topic of alien movies, did you guys enjoy Fire in the Sky? Also, do you buy the story? That guy Travis from the movie is always at the UFO festival near me and always seems to draw a crowd.
UFOs are one of those weird things where I think I'm like pretty on board that they exist, except I never believe anyone who says they've seen one. So there's a little dichotomy there. But I brought this up in the show before, John. I have trouble with the idea that if UFOs did exist, they wouldn't be unmanned. Like, given everything we know about the direction of our technology, why wouldn't it just be an unmanned, like, surveillance drone thing? Why is it when it's always like there's aliens in there? Like,
Everyone knows they're
You use the double
entanglement.
negative.
Duh.
Yeah, there you go. You used the double negative there that it confused me.
What are you, an English
but
teacher?
You're right. I think they would be drones. Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about the like UFOs thing in the past. Like, I'm not going to be able to do justice to it, but there's like a logic reasoning
it's
thing
the Fermi
where it's
paradox.
well, there's the Fermi, but there's also this like if you want to believe, there's like multiple outcomes. It's like either we are living at a point in like technology where we are about to develop interstellar travel, and the reason that we haven't seen experienced any alien contact is because when anyone gets to that point, they like it destroys them.
That there's a certain leveling off of civilizations before they get to that point.
There's I'm not doing justice to it, but
no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. My favorite, if people are interested, and it's actually coming on Netflix soon, but The Three Body Problem, which is like a Chinese sci-fi novel, is fucking wild. I'm like very nervous because it felt to me very unfilmable, and Netflix is about to put a series out about it, so we'll see.
Are they putting out the Chinese series?
No. It's like a
It's like a multinational.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Stephen Hawking who was like, "Hey, if aliens do exist, we don't want to
Yeah, well, that's
try to
the other.
message them."
That's yes, correct.
Like, it won't go well for us.
No. Yeah, well,
I
it's
trust
like,
that guy, John. He
look,
seemed to know
look
what he was
how
doing.
we treat any other form of life that is like we deem as below us. Like, it's not great. Like
Yeah.
Let's hope they're
it would be
highly
like the no one will
evolved.
save us outcome, you know. So
Don't panic. We're
I
here to
also
help
like
you.
vintage fashion and dancing. Can I please get that?
that's
in
true,
here?
right?
Rachel
This
wants-
could be good for you.
Rachel wants the throwback alien invasion where
Yeah.
we get to just have like square dances and wear dresses and stuff. Yeah.
I saw Fire in the Sky in the theater. I think it was like 6th grade, but it might have even been
shit.
before that. What year is that movie?
90 something.
93.
I was gonna say 92 or 93. Yeah. I definitely saw it in the theater, and it was one of the earlier times that I was like at the theater without an adult, like where it was like your parents just dropped you off and were like, go to town. And yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. That was my freshman year of college, and I saw Fire in the Sky, and I was, freshman year of college and afraid to go in the woods again for a good half a year.
I am. You know what I always think of when we think of alien movies is that Eduardo Sanchez one,
Yes.
Altered.
Yeah,
Right?
Altered.
Yeah, that's a good
That
one,
was
too.
a cool movie. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
I have been super fascinated by all of the like government disclosures lately, and like the UFO people are like, well, this is just they're like preparing us for what they call disclosure. They're like the government is basically trying to grease the wheels here so that we don't totally lose our shit when they're like, oh, by the way, like aliens exist. I like that.
There's,
before Trump, John, I used to enjoy conspiracy theories on the show. Before it was like
I do
our
remember
nightmarish
that.
reality we lived in every day. We would like
We would anything nice.
we would joke and
We did. There was a
daydream
whole
about
segment
these
about
things.
your favorite conspiracy theories. in the
and
past.
so this is one I am enjoying these days because it has nothing to do with like the Illuminati. Well,
I mean, it might have something
Give
to
it
do with
time.
it being
Yeah.
like
trace it back
colonized
far
by,
enough, sure.
alien life forms, but sure.
I did watch part of that trial where they had the 3 Air Force guys testify on their sightings. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when it's like somebody from the military, it sort of like gives them an air of credibility or something, right?
And they're
Except
under
I
oath.
worked with a dude who was in the Navy, and he's like so anti like military. He's like, listen, he's like, I can tell you this from experience. Not everybody who's in law enforcement is good and or smart, or like in the military.
Don't
He's
say.
like, it's just like the population. It's a real crapshoot. Like who we're
yeah.
gonna get. So
it self-selects. Let's
Yeah,
just say
exactly.
that. It
You never know.
self-selects.
aliens, I like them. Let's bring them out.
I'm going to
Let's
recommend
get
a
it.
documentary for you, Eric, as someone who enjoys a good conspiracy theory. It's called Mirage Men.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about, like, it's a really interesting documentary. I don't know how much of it is real, but, like, it's about people who their job is misinformation around aliens.
Ooh.
Oh, around it. Okay, I'm in.
Specific, yeah, like it's about discrediting people and putting out misinformation
I mean-
specifically for people to pick up so that it can be disproved.
When I was a kid, like if Fox ever did a like, you know how pre-History Channel doing crazy shit. When we were kids, it was like Fox.
They
the
did that
network.
alien. It was like
Right,
alien,
alien
autopsy.
abduction. They were the ones who did the like in the 2012 special in like the late 90s about how the world was going to end or whatever. I loved that shit when I was a kid.
I enjoyed the movie. So
I had those books that you ordered
2012.
from the infomercial that were like mysteries.
Mysteries of the unknown.
Yes, I totally have those in my house.
I
Yeah.
have some of those.
I wanted
That's
those so bad.
I'm sure they're gone these days, but they were cool.
You be like, listen. You can find them on the eBays if you're a nerd and you know
Oh,
where
I
to
don't
look.
need them, but yeah, something reminded
Are
of
you
them.
sure?
Like I saw a meme or something recently. I was like, wait, I had those fucking books. I probably
They-
begged my mom to buy them.
I tell you what was my jam, and this was when I was pretty young. I was at my dad's on the weekends, but we always watched In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy.
yeah, big time.
You get some good alien stuff and Bigfoot on there too.
You should check out Casey. That Netflix has a show that they're doing with the other one, not Leonard Nimoy, the other
The other
Star Trek
Spock.
guy. Yeah, no, Captain Kirk, the fucking guy,
Captain Kirk.
the original.
Shatner?
Yes, thank you. And it's very much a like, it's like
got there.
it's like an amalgamation of that show you're talking about, Casey, with like old school unsolved mysteries. It's real cheesy, but it's kind of fun.
Nice.
I don't know what they call it, but
All right, we got one other question on the threads from Kalanat. Best alien design in horror. I think Alien Xenomorph is the easy answer, but what are your faves? I'm going Psycho
Xenomorph.
Gorman.
Xenomorph is incredible. I do like Psycho Gorman.
Pretty
Cloverfield
Predator.
Monster. I'm good on Cloverfield Monsters. I'm a pro on that.
Yeah.
Like the first time you see Predator and his mouth does the thing, that's pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as far as like straight up aliens and, you know, freaky stuff, I was kind of impressed the ones in the Amy Adams movie that I can't think of the name now.
Oh,
The circles.
Arrival.
Yes, Arrival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was. I think
Ooh, Arrival, so good.
I think I was texting you guys about it, but I watched The Thing recently.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
That
Thing?
is
There you
just the
go.
fucking best, man.
Yeah.
That movie. Yeah.
For years on my board at work, I had this meme printed out, which is a very old person thing, but I just liked it. And it was from Arrival, and she's holding up the board. This is such a specific moment in time. So, like, Arrival had come out, she's holding up the board, but it was right after Trump had tweeted Kavfifi or whatever, and it just said that on the board, and she's holding it up. Like, what? How could you possibly explain that to a human 20 years from now? Like, there's just no way. Now you could explain to a human from now.
Oh god.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, come on, that's good. Something's just worth printing out, John. You know. All right, are you done? Is that it for you, Casey?
That is it.
Don't forget Slack, Eric. I'm reminding you.
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look there now. All right. Mr. Joe says, if you turned into a pod person, what is the one movie opinion that would be an obvious tell that it wasn't actually you? Oh, this is easy. That I love Trick or Treat.
Wait,
That's how
that
you
would
know.
be like one of mine too. I thought you liked Trick or Treat.
No,
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
not a big fan.
I love Trick or Treat, so.
Interesting.
That's fine, but I'm just all I'm saying is this is how you would know
No, I know.
I'm a bot person.
Maybe it's that I liked any of the Scream movies after Scream 1. Then you guys would be
John's like, let
"Oh,
me tell you
boy."
about Scream 5.
yeah, yeah.
That I didn't bring up Six String Samurai.
Yeah, that would be a tell.
What you got, Rachel?
That I don't get spun into a rage every time the Halloween Kills comes up. That would definitely be a dead giveaway because
She's like, you don't
I-
understand it. It's about Haddonfield's
I-
trauma as a town, okay?
Actually, I'm so grateful for the existence of Halloween Ends because everybody, like the mass delusion that wasn't such a piece of shit is finally
It's-
over. Everybody's on my
no,
level
it's
now.
not. It's
No,
not over.
Eric
They're
keeps trying
still
to
out there.
convince that there's people like
They're still
betting
out there.
all of them.
And my favorite is just the people that not like, oh, I just like it, but the people are like, you don't get it, okay? It's really deep, and you just don't get it. Those are my favorite people.
My guess for you, Rachel, was going to be something to have to do with the Expendables series / franchise.
The Expendables?
Yeah, okay. It's not hard, obviously, but you know, it just seems like right up there in your wheelhouse.
I've
You
never
can
seen
Google
any
it
of
and
I've
figure
never
out.
seen any of those. Like, I'm a Mission Impossible girly. Like,
Oh.
if I suddenly had like anti Mission Impossible, then test
Then
my
you know?
DNA.
Okay,
Although
all right.
honestly, I have some negative feelings about the latest one, but I won't get into it.
Did you hear they're not going to call the next one Part 2? They're moving away. They feel like the Part 1 was not a good maneuver. So
Are they going to
Okay.
treat the women in it less disposably? Because then that would also be nice.
Oh.
cut, Rachel.
That's okay.
Come on, come on.
I said I
Anytime
wasn't
I-
going to go there, but you kept
Anytime
the
I think of Tom
conversation
Cruise-
going.
I haven't seen the new one actually, so
Anytime I think of Tom Cruise, I just think of The Mummy when Russell Crowe greeted him as a young man. Just the
Yeah,
best.
you know that was in his writer.
The best. Okay. Moving on. Stephen R., would you volunteer for experiments if the aliens agreed to take you around to other planets? How far would you be willing to go? I mean, if they're going to take me to other planets, like, I'll do butt stuff.
Yeah,
I don't care.
that's
Like
what I
no
was thinking.
permanent damage, but
yeah.
probe away. Let's go to Saturn. Like
They could take a finger. I mean, like,
Yeah, right. I think no
I don't
permanent
know.
damage is the key, though. Like, get in there, but like, leave me intact. Like, I'd like
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I'd like to walk around and enjoy the other planets.
you don't want to have to wear a diaper the rest of your life.
yeah.
Thank you.
But if they,
But if you have technology to take care of that, then we can talk.
They've
That's like in
reached
that-
the
in
limits
that-
of what probing can tell
In
them.
that alien
so-
abduction movie, do you remember the probes literally looked like they had blender whirs on the end?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want the blender whir. I just
know.
want
yeah. These aliens seemed
not great.
a lot more chill in that.
like a like an
Sense.
ET finger is fine, but like no blender.
So grim.
From Whitney, who did the silent main character better, Bryn in No One Will Save You or the janitor in Willy's Wonderland? Is that the Nick Cage one?
Yeah, that's not a serious question. We move on.
It's actually a very serious question with one correct answer, and that is, of course, there is not enough pinball machine dancing in this movie. So
Yeah.
Willy's Wonderland, it is.
This one's for Rachel because I
guess
know
you're
I know she loves these deep probing questions.
Sold.
From Zach,
Probing again.
would you be saved / forgiven if aliens were to examine you based on your most private regret?
I wish I was that interesting.
Yeah, true.
It'd be like,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't murder my best friend with a rock when I was a child, so I think I'm, probably gonna do all right.
I'm trying to think of what like keeps me up at night, and it's always like
didn't even talk
embarrassing
about-
shit I said.
I just
You know
find
what
it
I mean?
insane that I'm then supposed to like sympathize with her.
Well, but at that
That's not
point in the
normal. It's
movie,
not
you're
like she
actually
act-
not supposed to sympathize with her that much anymore. I mean, I also think, like, I don't know,
Right.
Eric, you can't forgive someone that they did something when they were like 10?
For murder, no.
I don't know.
murdered.
Wow. I didn't realize you were such a, you know.
I don't know. I feel like she has so much regret, but I do think it's interesting that the way that she initially survives her first interaction with an alien kind of mirrors that.
No, that was intentional, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I think it's
agree.
saying something about like something innate in her character or something.
She's just real good at picking some shit up and swinging it at a head. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's her skill. All right. You did Threads, right, Casey? So I guess.
Yes.
Oh man, we're not even at Instagram yet. Good lord. Okay.
We can, you know what? Just skip the X, Eric. Skip the tweets. Let's go right to Instagram.
Oh wow. How you
Yeah,
gonna
we
do
only had
Elon
one,
like
and
that?
it's not a serious question, so that works actually.
There
Okay.
you go.
All right, Instagram. We got a couple on here. Nothing crazy. Brian, can we be done with trauma horror yet?
I mean, it depends. It really depends. Because
All
like one
right,
of my favorite movies this year was Birth Rebirth, which is totally about trauma. I think it's what you do with it, but I don't think it can be shorthand. Like,
It can't be set
Well-
dressing to a different movie. It's got to be what
Yeah.
the movie's about, and that also gives people the choice to just not watch it. Like,
Well, I think there's definitely a place for trauma horror. I don't think every movie needs to be trauma horror.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what makes Birth Rebirth work is that while it is very much at the heart of what that movie's about, it also just has a good plot and action and tension. And, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's not just people talking at me about their trauma, you know?
Right.
All right. Plug It Up Pod says Caitlin Deaver versus Caitlin Grant. Who's your fave?
Can't we love all the Caitlins?
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, so far, Caitlin's
I like that she knew.
pretty good on a whole.
I like that she thought that I knew the actress's name in this movie. It's funny. Rory, 2 more questions. Rory, which cinematic alien would you want to meet? I got a good answer for this.
Can it be Psycho Gorman?
Yeah, sure. You might qualify as a hunky boy, Jen.
I was gonna say, as a hunky boy.
You guys might hit it off. I'm gonna say John Candy in Spaceballs as Barf, the Mog,
Good. That's good.
half man, half dog.
Yeah.
Mog.
He's his own best friend.
That's gonna leave a mark.
I don't know that I can beat that. That's pretty good.
That was good. Nice. Well done. Well played.
All right, last question. Aside from this is the weirdest worded question. I just wanted to read it because I thought it was funny. Aside from Jesus Christ, who would you want to save in any given situation? We don't have to answer. I don't know what that means. I don't know why I'm saving Jesus. Isn't supposed to die for our sins? Like if you,
Yeah.
What do you?
we're not
all
even
to
gonna
go to
answer.
hell?
He doesn't need to be saved. We're being saved, right?
By
Isn't that how it
him
works?
not being
Yeah,
right. If
he saved us.
If he gets saved, then we're not saved.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. All right, what's next week? Thanks, Eli
Thanksgiving.
Roth.
Thanksgiving.
The buzz is good.
Rachel, where can people find you?
Egg crackers,
I'm
Thanksgiving.
buzzing. I'm buzzing. So
Yeah, I gotta find time to go to the theater, but I'm pretty into it. Rachel, where can people find you?
Well, if you want some more of these awesome opinions, because who could ever run out of bandwidth for that? You can find me at CG Podcasts on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, all that stuff. Or you can follow me personally at Rach Pants on all those same platforms.
Love it. Don't forget to check us out, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. You can watch a live stream, get back episodes, get on Slack, and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. That's going to do it. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.